Yo. What's up, you guys? Welcome back. This is not so anonymous, man. Just tapping in with you guys. I'm about 10 days late due to having a cold. That's why my voice sounds like this. Sounds like a teenager going through puberty again. Some moments it's a deep baritone voice, and then other times it's itchy, scratchy, and stuff like that. You know, someone like a kid just learning how to play the violin. So anyhow, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys who've been subscribing since the last video and since the beginning. Thank you for all you guys who's been commenting, liking, sharing. Some of you guys actually sharing things too, so I really appreciate that. Without further ado, we're gonna hop into this. This is my 4-month anniversary. Let me take you around my kitchen, show you what I'm working with, show you what I'm, what's cooking up in here and what I got. Just stepped out of the shower. Today is my shower day. It's a Sunday. I tend to do these on Sundays. But yeah, let's go ahead and take it around the kitchen real quick, okay? So I don't know if you guys can see this. This is my little ribbon, and it's actually really ribboning things like that. I'm hoping you guys are getting this. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll check it back. This won't be the only time I take it around the kitchen. But yeah, as you can see, the hair's still growing, things like that. Really digging the growth, really digging the progress, things like that. This past month has brought on a little bit of different challenges and so forth. At 4 years, 4 months, your mind can still play tricks on you. And what I mean by that is sometimes you can start to rethink the direction or take back control or your own will on how your hair probably should look. Now, in my situation, I didn't necessarily do that, but I allowed others from the outside to have too much voice and too much say. So today we're going to talk about that. I'm going to use my own experiences. Hopefully you guys, if you guys run through this, people are going to have an idea of what you could do better, what they think it should look like. They're going to compare your hair to someone else you might know and things like that. And then you might start questioning yourself like, dang, should I really do that stuff? My hair should be longer. Yeah, and you start finding yourself comparing yourself to other people. So you got to sort of like keep the conversation down. A lot of people are entitled. I'll put it that way. Most human beings are entitled. A lot of people throw around that word narcissist and all that stuff, things like that. But I think I don't think everybody's narcissist. Everybody just throws that word around. But what I do think is a lot of us have tendencies as human beings. It's almost part of our nature. Some more than others tend to be a little more self-centered. And that self-centeredness creates a thin line between audacity and entitlement. And what I mean by audacity is some of us have the audacity to speak up for ourselves, do things, go try things, do all those things. We take risks and things like that. Even being an entrepreneur, I have to take risks and do some things. As a dad, I got to say some things that might not have the popular opinion. Even as the husband in the house, I got to do some things and say some things that might not go off too well with people, because it's hard for people to accept love the way you have it. And then I also personally, because of my own self-centeredness, I have to use discernment on when to say some things and when not to say. But when you're the receiver versus the person who's speaking, you got to learn how to quiet some of these voices. So stopping the opinions of others or not taking that on is a easier said than done type of situation, right? So one of my suggestions is There's a three-part process. That three-part process usually comes in the form of three questions. I happen to have a mentor. Okay. And those three questions is, the first one is, what needs to be said? What needs to be said? When someone is inputting like, hey, you should put red lights, those, the red light stuff on your hair, on the front, on the back, and that will, I know they mean well, right? I know people mean real well. They're liking my progress too. I appreciate that. That's not the problem. The problem is how do I take to those suggestions? Now, the discernment part is, first, what needs to be said? Because sometimes I deal with my own internal conflict around securities, insecurity, feeling secure in myself, feeling safe in myself, and being myself. A part of this whole process is sort of shedding that old one. I almost gave you out my real name. That old knot and the new knot, and letting it shine and not letting other people's voices dim that shine, that light. But the discernment is, I got to be careful because my self-centeredness could cloud that thin line between audacity and entitlement. Speaking of entitlement, I'll get back to the other things because I know what I'm at. First thing is what needs to be said. I'll come back to that in a minute. But the audacity and the thin line between audacity and entitlement. Entitlement is when I just think you should just know what I think without me even considering your feelings or your insecurities or how that may affect you. I'm so self-centered. I'm just thinking about me. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell you how that don't make me feel good. I don't like it. My opinions, and I feel like my opinions are more important to where I project them on you. And that's based in insecurity as well, usually. I'm not going to say all the time, but usually. So there's a thin line between entitlement and audacity. Now, I have the audacity to speak to people when their entitlement is being projected onto me. Sometimes it's just well-intended, and some people, they're in disgust. It depends on the situation. But if I'm not spiritually fit that day, I might take offense to both, even if you're trying to help me. But my personal responsibility is, step one, if I am going to have the audacity to say something and advocate for myself, how do I do that to where I'm not self-centered and projecting on you? So first thing I need to ask myself is, what needs to be said? What needs to be said? I didn't always have the words to articulate myself or say things whenever I was offended by what people were saying, whether this be with, little kids. Little kids, they be a little wild sometimes. They tell you what's on their mind. And sometimes you want to, you little mother, say some stuff back. You can't do that, though. I mean, you can. But if you have a wife like mine, she'll be like, why are you mad at a little kid? She's going to call you out, and that's just love. I might even object to that. Like, why are you calling me out? Because it's the truth. The truth hurts, right? So I got to learn about what needs to be said. How does it need to be said? And the truest discernment part is, does it even need to be said by me? I learned this from my mentor, like I said, and I'm really just putting it on. I know it doesn't have much to do with locks, but it is. It does. I'm going to tie it in here in a second. So I'm going to go back to the red light thing. I had someone recently tell me, oh, such and such's hair is growing real fast. And, he's using the red light and all that. I'm like, in my head, like, didn't nobody ask you? Nobody asked you. But I listen to them. I don't say nothing, you know what I mean? But you allow somebody a voice too much sometimes. They don't understand because their own self-centeredness on how they might be affecting you. So I walked away from that conversation like, damn, should I do that stuff? I start questioning myself. But it's about me empowering myself to, like, first of all, it's true. I didn't ask you. But to be okay and comfortable in your own skin, that's what a part of this progress is. Was shedding this ideal of what I'm supposed to look like, how I'm supposed to look like, when it's supposed to be there, what the arrival time. It's not an event, it's a process. Even forgiving other people. This person was well-intended. I know they were well-intended. But the problem is, that person started like suggesting more things, like it's unsolicited. So if you ever run into the situation, we're in the holidays. This is where I'm gonna tie it into the story, to some more stuff. You might go to that, Thanksgiving's over with, but you might have a Christmas Eve dinner with family and stuff. And they're like, what's going on with your hair? What you do with your hair, boy? What you do with your hair, girl? You should go see my friend. Or, someone could fix that. They don't know that that's being offensive. They truly think they're helping you sometimes. But what needs to be said? How does it need to be said? And does it need to be said? That gives me a pause button between my mouth and my response when I feel attacked, insecure, or whatever that feeling is on that emotion, right? Because what I do with that, and if I'm not spiritually fit, I might say some real stuff, man. I might lose my religion on you. I might call your pedigree, what type of bitch you are. You know what I mean? I might do all types of things. But at the end of the day, I got to live with me, because now I let someone get under my skin. And I got to learn how to reshed all that energy that I gave to them. And it happens a lot more in the family settings. That's why I'm talking about the holidays. This road traveled is not a popular opinion. I'm going to tell you this. If you're going to travel down this road of freeform locks, people are going to have opinions. I'm not going to say you have to silence everybody. You don't. You really don't have to fight everybody. You don't have to win the war, win the fight and lose the war. You don't. But to keep your peace and honor and your love and goodwill towards yourself, and how you could give that back to people, is to save people from you. So you don't read them your pedigree. So you don't lose your religion. So you're not taking it to the shower with you like, I should have said that to them person. They offended me. I believe you're right. You were hurt, and whatever those feelings are true. But when we step out of ourselves, we got to live with that stuff. When we do something or say something that wasn't our best moment, we got to live with that. And you got to learn how to shed that. So what I would say in those situations, thank you, instead of no one asked you. Because that's my go-to, like, no one asked you. I can say that, but I'll be like, thank you. I'm sure you mean well and stuff. I appreciate that. I just have my own ideas of what I would like to do. Or you could also say, if it's someone you're real close to, like a wife or someone, don't tell them what they did. Tell them how you felt. When you said that thing about the red lights, or you compared me to yada yada, or something like that, that sort of hurt my feelings. I don't think that person on the other side, when you tell them that, they're not going to take offense. They're going to actually feel like, oh shoot, my fault. I did say more than that. You didn't ask me, and here I am being entitled. And they might not think that about themselves, but I know this: they didn't intend to harm you, and you could keep a relationship. It doesn't have to be so crazy. Next Christmas Eve, you don't have to here goes that family member again. I don't even mess with them. I don't even want to go, You feel forced to go, all those things. So this is a story of not judging your insides by other people's outsides, or letting other people's voices be louder than yours. It's a story about self-love, self-respect, dignity, discernment. And it's a story about forgiveness and understanding, compassion. Yeah, compassion. When people say things to me these days, I can see that they, a lot more often than not, it's easier. Even that's a process. A lot more often when they're telling me about my hair, whether it's like, what are you doing? Oh man, what happened? I got someone's name. They could help you. That unsolicited stuff. When you go through this road that we are traveling on a freeform journey, whether you have curly hair, nappy hair, doesn't matter, the great hair, it's not always easy, you guys. But don't lose who you are, who you're becoming for a moment. Just to win the fight, but lose the war ultimately. So during these holiday seasons, during the winter time, during the dang sun going down earlier, these times of depression, these times of whatever, holidays aren't for everybody. Just remember, we're still on a journey, and this is practice, not perfect. But keep showing up, you guys. Keep showing up. Don't let them live between those ears too much. Half these people don't even know what they're saying. We're all entitled. It's just not your turn today. We all project. And try to just have some forgiveness and understanding. And give them a little mercy. Give yourself some mercy. So you don't have to reflect on what you should have said, how you should have said it, and did it need to be said by you. But if you ask yourselves, it'll put a pause button between this and this. This won't trigger this. Because once it leaves this, you can't bring it back. I didn't know where I was going today, but I wanted to be pretty genuine with that based on some of the things that I was going through over this past month. I like to be honest with you guys who are in my audience because you guys will go through this. You will. People are going to have opinions, and they're not going to. Doing this is not popular for them, but hearing their opinions ain't popular for you. And I promise you, there's some type of balance in between both of those worlds. There's some understanding, there's some forgiveness, there's some mercy and grace. I haven't always been the most spiritually healthy person, so I would read you your pedigree or say something real smart, real quick, based on my own securities, because that hurt. But learning to tell a person that what they said hurt you is probably the better thing to do. Maybe they'll shut up next time. Not that I'm trying to control them, but maybe they might have a pause button before they open their mouth, and they'll ask themselves what needs to be said. How does it need to be said? And does it need to be said by me? So practice that today, tomorrow, and the next day. And always remember, everybody gets a chance. Everybody gets a chance at bat. Some days it's your turn and it don't feel good. But some days you're going to need the one who's going to need the mercy and grace because you're projected. None of us are immune to it. Treat people as human beings. All right? Before I get out of here, I'm going to take you around this kitchen one more time. I don't know if I got my left side as well as I did my right side, but let's go ahead and do that, okay? My range of motion on my hair and head is not that well. I'm a little stiff today, but yeah. Once again, my name is Not So Anonymous. This is my 4-month anniversary on this Natty Dread journey. It's a road it's a journey that is real bumpy. It's not smooth. Not too many people take this road, so it's real bumpy. It's real bumpy, I promise you. But stick it out. You will prevail. I had a whole different subject for today, but I felt this one was probably the best one for today. Just to be honest with you guys, open with you guys, and willing to share my experience, strength, and hope with you guys today. Please like, share, subscribe, but most of all, comment, you guys. Until the next time, at 4 years, 5 months, until then, my name is Not. 2 Stoves. and I'm out.